go. We are back in the building. When I tell you, Team No Excuses is so fired up. Welcome to the show. If it's your first time, buckle up. And if you're coming back every week to grab a nugget from a guest or from Championship Mentality, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really excited about today's show because we're talking about championship mentality. We're talking about what does it take? What does it take to have that? A lot of people talking about give. What does it take from us that we have to give into, that we have to buy into this mentality? And I don't want to waste time because this guy's mentality, it's not just him, it's his family, it's the way he's seen things in life. And when you talk about probably the strongest man ever in the world that never touched steroids or anything, just a straight animal. And when I say animal, that's a mindset. That's a mentality. I mean, just listening to him, me and him talking before he came on, think about over 20,000 hours of training. 20,000 hours of training, which means his mind was made up. His mindset was in the right place, and he had the foundation to do what he went on and done. Without further ado, I have to bring on one of the biggest names in WWE wrestling, one three-time world champion. We're talking about Mark Henry, the legend, the man himself. Big Daddy, what's up? I need you to talk to me because my goodness, it's so good to have you on the show.
You're going to be begging me to shut up in a minute. I've never in my life been at a loss for words, Ray. And I'm telling you, it is a pleasure, an absolute pleasure to stand face to face with somebody that I consider my equal. And I don't wake up every day and walk in this world that God gave me and consider to have many of those.
Wow.
And when you talk about a mentality, like it's not arrogance, it's the truth. I'm the only human walking the earth that's been a world champion in 3 different sports that have nothing to do with each other.
Wow.
And a 3-time national champion in another sport. Like, sports has been my life. Winning is a sickness with me. I can't sleep at night when I feel like I let somebody down. I can't sleep at night when I feel like I lost a step. And me getting older, I'll be 50 in June.
June 12th.
June 12th, I'll be 50. And I struggle every day with losing a step. And, you know, I feel like, you know, still, if God be with me, no man can be against me.
No man can be against me. It's our motto. That's why we live by the same creed.
Yeah, I didn't know that was your creed, but it's definitely mine. And I meant to tell you, like, I'm glad this is my first time ever meeting you in person or talking to you face to face. And I've watched probably 10 of your speeches, you know, at colleges, at the Hall of Fame, at different functions that you spoke at. And I grew up in a small town in Southeast Texas, and called Silsbee, Texas, and 3,000 people. The church that I grew up in, our pastor's name was Percy Mitchell. And every time I see you speak, I think of Reverend Mitchell. I say, look at Reverend Mitchell, came back from the dead, boy, I tell you. And I mean, it's the funniest thing in the world because you may be the only athlete that I've ever seen in my life that sweats as much as me. And every time I see you speak, you like, and I was like, this is my twin cousin. Like we both, man, I'm telling you, it's a complete honor, man, to be able to talk to you.
Oh man, Mark, I'm telling you, man. First of all, I've been such a big fan of yours for so long, right? Just, I mean, for years, bro. Like, and I'm like you, right? You see somebody, you see a great guy do something or doing something, and you're like, wow, wow, wow. And me, it's like, how do you get to those people and talk about that mentality? Like one of the people I used to always want to be around and got around him later in life was Ali, right? And just wanted to hear his mentality, right? But when I hear your mentality, I want to go into this. First of all, what got you into wrestling? Like, why did you start wrestling? And I need you to tell me the story about Andre the Giant.
That's gonna be the thing that's gonna really set it clear to you is nobody in my family watched wrestling growing up, except for me and my grandmother. My grandmother was the wrestling fan, and Big Cat Ernie Ladd was from Beaumont, Texas, about 15 miles from where I grew up. And my grandmother was a fan of his because he was the only African-American booker and guy that led the shows. Usually during that time, all the black dudes got beat up. But Ernie was a smart guy, college-educated guy, a driven guy, and cut from the same cloth that you and I are cut from. There's been a lot of men born to this earth, but there have not been many Ray Lewis's, Mark Henrys, and Ernie Ladds. I guarantee you. It just, we either gonna be the one to live or we're gonna be the one to die. That's just the way it is. And the mentality that you talk about, a championship mentality. The two things that stand out to me in my development is, number one, I was never a follower. I never followed. I got an older brother, 2 years older than me, was all Southwest Conference as a true freshman coming out of high school, and probably the best football player we had in our family, but had a career-ending injury and didn't get to make it like we were able to make it.
Yeah.
And I fought him tooth and nail. We lived in the same house and didn't speak for 2 years.
Wow.
Because it was just a certain level of competitiveness that existed in me that I just felt like I wasn't arrogant. I wasn't disobedient to an extent.
Yeah.
I was a kid, so I had some failure.
Yeah.
But I never followed, and including my older brother. And he kind of resented that. He like, look, I'm your older brother. You do what I tell you. And I'm like, no, I don't do what nobody tell me but God. And that was like the number one thing that I feel like was a plus for me because I wasn't influenced.
Wow.
I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. Like, success is my drug.
Wow.
I walk around this world, man, and you're gonna hear me say I walk around this world a lot because I'm not beholden to the ground that's beneath my feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I get on the plane is mine. When I get to New York is mine.
Absolutely.
Like everywhere I go, I feel like I'm the guy. You should listen to me because I've been there and I've done that.
Yeah.
And I made some mistakes just like everybody else.
We all have.
It's how you bounce back and how you define your mistakes that make you the man that you are.
That's it.
And the second thing is, in a championship mentality, is sacrifice.
Wow.
I never went on spring break before. I don't know what that looked like.
Ooh.
I got friends of mine that went. Yeah, I see. I'm gonna age myself. I'm finna age myself when I say this. I have friends of mine that's like, man, we're going to Freaknik.
Oh my goodness.
I have friends of mine that's like, oh man, we're going to South Padre Island for a spring break. I never had that.
Wow.
I never did none of that stuff. One, I was going to end up sitting on the beach watching everybody because I didn't do none of the stuff that everybody did. That didn't interest me. I wanted to go to the gym.
Wow.
When I went to the gym, I was somebody.
Here we
People
go.
was like, oh my God, did you see what that dude did? That was my drug. That was success. It was like, that's what I fed off of. And I think that if more young people
Yeah.
focus on what makes them feel good inside as a human being, like what gives them completion, and sometimes follow your own path to failure before you have to say, hey, the number 3 thing I need is mentorship. You've been there, you've done that. Can you help me? If you reach out and you ask somebody for help and they don't help you, then that's on them.
Absolutely.
That's not on you.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I'm going to come across as kind of preachy
No,
because
you're talking to a person.
I try to teach everybody that's around me what I've learned for success because I want you to have it, knowing that everybody is not going to achieve it
Absolutely.
because everybody is not willing to do what it takes to get the job done.
See, this is why, seriously, like where I'm headed, right? So where we're going, brother, is that I want this conversation. I get it. We can have fun. We can joke around or whatever. But this conversation, just like when you just had your son, just like when you just had his friend with him, to have them understand that process. See, that was the process that I'm trying to teach now, Mark, about a championship mentality. Because there are no breaks. There's no breaks. There's no, like while people out there taking breaks, you working, you grinding. That was my grind. That's the way I found me inside of a weight room by myself. You talk about I was somebody, I was everything I needed to be when I got in the weight room. When I started, go ahead, come on.
Ray, you drew an audience.
Yes.
You didn't have to go searching for the club because you had an audience. I already had an audience.
Yes.
I had all the girls that wanted to see me because people wanted to see what I was doing.
So,
I had dads come to me, Ray, when I was like early 20s, 19, 20, 21.
yeah.
Like, man, I wish there was more of these boys that would be like you. He was like, guys were trying to hand me their daughters. Because they saw what I was.
Absolutely.
They knew where I was gonna go.
Yeah.
And I tell my daughter right now, I say, you look at where JoJo at. I know I got a picture of JoJo over there on the wall over there. I tell JoJo all the time. I said, if they don't work like I work,
Yes.
and you barely see them,
They can't do nothing for you.
then they can't do nothing because those people are going to be accessible. And when you're accessible, you're going to run into troubles. That means that you're not working. Somebody else is going to outwork you. Like the opportunities come really sparingly. And if you're not there
Yeah.
when that happens, when everything was supposed to happen, that's opportunities missed.
It's gone.
It's gone. And you just gotta wait. And I just hate waiting, man. I'm the dude, man. I would walk straight to the front of the line, Ray.
Absolutely.
People say, man, why you think you somebody? Yep. I sure do. I was like, I'm not standing out here. Not only can I afford to go in there, it's hot. I'm not going to stand out here in this heat.
And that's not because of your size. That's because of your mentality.
It's just I want to be first in line. It's I told you it's a sickness, but it's not a sickness I've had some problems with arrogance, and I've had some problems with an overinflated idea of myself. But my wife will tell you, like, my overconfidence leads to me living up to what I say. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And try to be on my team. Ray, I wish there would have been two of me, because I was a great football player. At 400 pounds, you see me, dunk basketballs with two hands, and I ran a 5'1".
What position you played in football? What position you played in football?
I played guard, but when I graduated high school and I decided my senior year that I was going to focus on lifting, I stopped playing football because I had hurt my wrist in the first game of the season. And my coach was like, "Oh my God, I just hope that you heal up before we start lifting." And I said, "Look, as soon as I'm healed up, I'm not playing football anymore." And that's another thing, man. Like, I tell my son good right now. He good at everything. He made the basketball team. He made the track team. He on the wrestling team. I was like, he played football. I said, at some point, you're going to have to stop doing everything and pick one thing.
One thing.
And focus on it.
One thing. I just had this conversation with my son, and we talk about size, right? We're talking about size with you and your family. Like, take me all the way back, man, because I read up on Uncle Chud. And Uncle Chud is 6'7", 500 pounds, and never had a pair of manufactured shoes.
No.
What?
Had moccasins. Like, I come from a family that's Black and Indian.
Okay.
And the slaves where I was from, they went to the Indian reserves and lived amongst the Indians. And in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and out in the swamps in Louisiana. And somehow everybody, the Adams, all came to Texas. And I was explaining to you relatives of mine, the Derrick Henrys, the Kevin Henrys, the Chris Henrys, and then on the other side of my family, Sam Adams, who and his dad, and Andrew Adams, and Michael Strahan. The list goes on. I mean, like, there's 5 boys in my family that won Super Bowls.
Wow.
And everybody talks about, my brother, Kevin Smith, that played corner for the Cowboys, said my brother was the meanest person he ever met in his life. Like, he was, like, growing up with him, he was like Debo. And we walked down the hallway and bumped shoulders and stared at each other. And it took for me to graduate high school, to go on and be out in this world, and people acknowledge me for being the man that I became, before my brother was like, "Damn, man, everybody know you. Like, I can't believe that you was able to." I tried to tell you. And it took that man-to-man conversation to say, "Look, man, just because you're good at something and you're mad," he was mad that I quit playing football. I mean, to the point to where he wouldn't speak to me.
Wow. Because he thought that was your path.
Opportunity to be great. And I was like, I'm going to be great.
Right.
But I'm not saying I'm not saying stupid, because there's a difference between stupid and ignorant. We've seen stupid. Yeah. I know stupid real well. But what my brother was ignorant. Mm-hmm. He had no clue that there was a world out there where I can make a living and be somebody lifting weights, because he never saw it. He never heard of it. Wow. And that's why I'm saying, like, the Bible always talks about faith. And it talks about understanding.
Mm,
And understanding comes from experience, which is a byproduct of what you do with your faith.
absolutely.
I don't believe in nothing more than I believe in me, Ray.
Absolutely.
If somebody is hanging off the cliff, I want to be the one holding the rope because I know they're going to live.
Yeah.
I can't say that you or anybody else is going to be able to pull them up.
Yeah.
I know what I can do.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was trying to explain to my brother. But it took for him to go away and he had his success,
Yeah.
but he had to go away and see that I was able to develop into something that not even he knew what that was. And
But that turned into something, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but something that we've never seen, right? The most
Right.
pounds combined you've lifted is what? What's the most you've ever lifted combined? Bench press, squats, all of those things, pounds wise, and never using stuff.
like 20, like the unofficial total was somewhere around 2,400 pounds. But this is 5 lifts:
Yeah.
the squat, the bench, the deadlift, and then the snatch and the clean and jerk.
Yeah.
Is the 5 lift total. I'm 100 pounds heavier than anybody that ever lived. Not 50 pounds, not 20 pounds, 100 pounds. It's around 25 something and change. And I squatted 1,000 pounds. I deadlifted 900 pounds.
You squatted 1,000 pounds.
I squatted 1,000 pounds. I deadlifted. You play football, so you did a lot of front squats.
Yeah, I did both. I did both. I know what you're going. I know where you're going.
I front squatted 822.
822 on a front squat?
822. I was different.
It was different.
And there's nothing wrong with the fact that I didn't make the money that you made. I didn't make the money that my cousins have made because my sport was not that kind of sport. But I did everything that I wanted to do in my life. And I know a lot of people that wake up in the daytime or wake up in the night and they don't feel a sense of completion because they didn't get to live their dream or they didn't get to live the opportunity that God gave them. I did what God wanted me to do. I used every tool that he gave me, and I have no regrets about it. None.
And this is why I got to ask you this before I let you get up out of here. Give me one thing that you think in your course of living that forever changed the way you saw your opportunities. That's one. And then 2, what drives you now? Because you said you're on the other side of it. You're about to be 50 June 12th. So what drives the lion now? And I know we have the same mentality. That's why I think I can answer these questions, but I want you to say it so somebody else gets a glimpse of what it means to have a championship mentality, no matter what age you at, or no matter what you are.
Which one do you want first?
Give me the second.
What drives me now is I feel like I can correct the negativity of the way the black man is perceived.
My goodness.
And it's a heavy, heavy task because I grew up around failure. And I watched a lot of people that had as much talent as I did, but squander it away or not be reliable or be judged in a negative way. And I did not want to be that guy. I grew up seeing functional alcoholics is why I don't drink. I grew up and I saw some unbelievable talents. Ray, you know, you grew up with that dude, Boo Boo, Junior Bug, Baby, or whoever it was that everybody talk about.
Everybody.
if you would have saw this guy,
My
you would
goodness.
have been like, holy hell.
Yeah.
And what did he do? Put something up his nose and ended up being a nobody.
Absolutely.
I did not want to do that.
I agree.
And so me looking, I learned from failure the way that some people learn from success.
Me too. My goodness.
Is I've learned equally from both. And my Ernie Ladd, I had the fortune of being blessed to come into pro wrestling and because I was a fan. To answer your question, I got away from it when I started talking about you being looking like Rev Mitchell. But my grandmother introduced me to wrestling and I became a fan, a super fan. Every time I had success, all I could do is talk about, I think it was the main one was Oprah. I was on Oprah before the Olympics. And she asked, what does the world's strongest man do in his spare time? I said, oh, I watch wrestling. I was like, I love wrestling. And they called me, and the Vince McMahon called me and said, listen, I heard you're a fan of wrestling. You should come and check out what we do. Ray, I was going to Cowboys camp in 3 days. In 95, I was out there with your boy Russell Maryland and Robert Jones and, all of them. Robert was a rookie from East Carolina during that time.
Yeah.
So I went out there and Barry Switzer was like, listen, I know you love offense, but I'm going to make you a nose tackle. He was like, I just want you to draw a double team because they changed they changed the rule in 91 that if I'm engaged, now you can't cut me.
Right.
So I went from one position to another position just because of a rule change.
Yeah.
And I was a high school kid. The last ball I played was in high school. And they had guys out there that were, near Hall of Famers that couldn't block me. Mark Stepnoski was an unbelievable center. But once I got my hands on him and locked out, it was over.
Game over.
Now, Larry Allen, that was some different shit.
That was so different.
Good Lord.
That was a different beast.
What a man. You talk about physical equals, like Larry Allen was, like he was strong like I had never felt football player being strong.
Yeah.
And so I went to Connecticut and I never came back, right?
Ooh. Ooh.
The opportunity, what if I had missed that opportunity?
Ooh.
So I wouldn't exist.
Absolutely.
So at least as a wrestler.
Yep.
Like you got to take those opportunities when they come.
Yeah.
The second thing is
that one thing that changed it all. One of few things. It's okay.
I think the seeing my mother live in poverty and struggle and have to ask my aunts or my uncles to help make the ends meet because the men that she picked were failures, including my dad. My dad liked to gamble, lose his whole check, work hard and just fail. And my stepdad, she divorced him. My stepdad, he fought her. He drank too much. He didn't really, he wasn't really the kind of man that she needed to have the success to raise two boys like me and my brother. That was the thing that made me go, I'm going to buy you a house. You'll never have to worry about working.
Yep.
And I made it my mission to be a success based off the fact that I wanted her to see success.
Yeah.
She always went on bus rides. Like we were Greyhound people. we was $12 go to Houston on the Greyhound. Didn't have cars and stuff.
I've been there.
Like I'm talking about you stomp on the floor and dirt came through the boards pour. We didn't even have the OR. We were poor. My mom's first flight was to Barcelona, Spain,
Wow.
to see me compete in the Olympics. Oprah called and found my mom because they realized how much of a mama's boy I was. And they flew her to Chicago to come to the Oprah show to surprise me. And I'm gonna tell you a sensibility like I have, like you ever watch that movie, the Matrix?
Come on now, Neo.
I'm Neo. When you can ask my wife, when I pulled up to the thing, I was like, man, my mom here.
You already knew it.
I don't know what room, what hotel, but I know she here.
Right.
And I live off my instinct.
Yeah.
Not off what I see, which is a byproduct of faith.
Absolutely.
And even Neo, a lot of people don't know that movie that the Wachowski brothers did was based off a book called The Third Eye Blind.
Absolutely.
Neo was supposed to be Jesus. The whole thing is about faith. Absolutely. And belief. And are you willing to do what it takes, even if it'll kill you?
My goodness.
And I've just never been afraid of death. I know it's going to come to me one day, but I'll never know. I won't feel it. I'll be gone. But I will, 100, 200 years from now, people still going to know who Mark Henry was.
1,000%. 1,000. Listen here. We got to talk more. We really do, because we got a lot to talk about. Hopefully, we may need to tag team.
This is not the last time we're going to talk, Ray.
Not the last time we're going to do it. This is not the last time we're going to do it. Brother.
Stop playing, Ray.
Mark, I'm telling you, brother, I'm not playing with you. We're going to connect for real. It's time to connect. Let's do some stuff.
Man, we need to pull some more people in that are like mind and that want to help and not going to ask for a check to do it. I've not lived my life asking for checks. God will always provide. It always have. It always will.
Brother, let's walk in this. Let's do it. Let's go show what the sculpture of a Black man looks like, thriving in life, because it is available and it's very doable. But I honor you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, brother. You've been a blessing. You've been a blessing, man, because every step of life is a walk of faith. Every step of life is a walk of faith, right? And it's people like you, time and time again, that proves that God is real and faith is everything. But faith without works are dead. And you're a faithful man, brother. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. It was beautiful seeing those kids. I'm going to jump in and wrap this show up, but I get to wrap this show up with some nuggets, because when I tell you, you left me with some nuggets, you hit me with success is a drug. When I walk in the weight room, I'm somebody. Man, I got a mission for today. Mark Henry, God bless you. God bless you, brother. I appreciated you today, man. And I'll be texting you a little later. We'll talk soon. All right, let's do some.
All right, man. Y'all be good. Have a great show.
All right, baby. Take care.
All right.
Wow, when you talk about a humble giant, Mont, I want to just check in for a minute. Just check in on where I am in life. I think life is incredible. I think whatever you want to do with the imagination has to go with your eyesight, with your vision. You have to be able to see where you want to go before you can imagine it. And when you hear Mark Henry's story, when you see he had a vision, but what he's seen the dysfunction and all of the things that he did not want to be, right? But this goes right into everything that we've been talking about. And that's why I want to go into the second half of the show about championship mentality and welcome my trainer of 20 plus years who is there listening. And without further ado, Coach, how you doing? But I want to bring you in on this championship mentality. We're just having conversation today. Mark Henry was absolutely incredible. But Coach, I need you to tell me the importance of discipline through the process. Tell me about it.
I tell you, listening to his story, man, is so inspiring, and it was amazing. And you still get to hear certain principles that just don't change no matter what your field of endeavor is in life. He talked about sacrifice, and I'll tell you, man, Ray, it was just so moving, man. But today, we're going to talk about another principle, just adding on to what Mark said and everything that we talked about during these past weeks. And today's focus, this week's focus is discipline.
Yes.
And, you know, listening to his story, you understand that discipline was a main thing in it. He couldn't have been successful without it. But I want to talk about, first of all, in practical terms, what is discipline?
Yeah.
And discipline simply is self-imposed standards that you place on yourself for the sake of a higher goal.
1,000%.
That's simple.
Yeah.
Self-imposed standards for the sake of a higher goal. And the Bible talks about in Proverbs 29, without a vision, the people perish. And when we think of perish, or when we read it in English, we think about, oh, they're just gone. But in its original language, it's just talking about a lack of restraint. When you don't have a vision, you don't have no discipline. It simply means you live a loose life.
Yes.
You have no vision and no discipline. So today, when we're talking about discipline, we're talking about self-discipline for self-improvement.
Go ahead, finish that.
So I was just saying, there are other disciplines out there. You know, I got to go to work. I got to brush my teeth. I got to put on my shoes. But there's another type of discipline that you as a leader must have. And that's self-discipline. You will not be a leader unless you have self-discipline.
Yeah.
And we want you to take that along this ride of your championship mentality, because if you don't establish that, you're going to have a problem. I don't have to call Ray. We trained for 20 years, but I don't have to call him every day and say, are you working out? Are you eating right? Are you reading your studies? Are you edifying your mind? Tell me about some word. I don't have to, because he has self-discipline, and it's something that all leaders must have. We've already discussed that leadership is within. We all possess it. So make sure you add that to your repertoire, the importance of discipline. And what Ray did, what Mark did, what I did, and what you can do too, and this is something that can help you, find a vision that imposes self-discipline on you. So if I'm a trainer, then I need to work out. Ray, you wanted to be the greatest to ever play. So your vision dictated your discipline.
Yes, sir.
Mark wanted to be the strongest man in the world, so he didn't want to go clubbing. Right. His vision dictated his discipline. So when you're out there, and we already talked about writing a vision and making it plain, create one that will impose discipline on you.
The discipline is everything you're speaking about. The discipline in your mind influences your behavior.
Wow.
What you have in your mind controls your life. That's where the vision is so crucial. I want to make sure somebody gets this, because you got to hold it and you got to rock it like a baby. Because sometimes our vision is blurred only by what's in our minds. Your mind is the center of attention when it comes to any and everything that you're supposed to eat, you're supposed to read, you're supposed to listen to, you're supposed to see. And that's why what we know for a fact, what Mark knows for a fact, discipline is good for your health.
And you notice that he talked about, he ran a straight line. You could tell he didn't really have a lot of friends, even his brother and relatives. See, because when you have a vision and you have discipline, your life becomes tight, like narrow. So it takes out all the other options that can take you away. So I don't have to worry about calls now. Yo, you want to go to the club this weekend? Yo, do you want to stay up late and go out and go here and go there? Because my vision has imposed my discipline on my life.
It's too big. It's too big. Your discipline too big. The mission too big. It's too big, T. We made those decisions. Mm-hmm. Let's give somebody the practicality of what really happened in our life. We made those decisions when we knew we had to get up and get 6 or 7 workouts in a day. And the calls we got time and time again on a Friday night. Come out to this club. Man, we'll block off the whole place for you. And I'll never forget, we sat upstairs every day. This is why I tell you, the discipline in your mind influences your behavior. If we go out to a club, I guarantee you the next day I suffer when it comes to working out. But because I had it in my mind that I wanted to rest. Listen, Mark said it carefully. Wasn't a lot of people, even his brother, couldn't see his vision. And that's why I want to share with you one of the last principles of the day. Discipline requires you to do your very best, even when no one is watching. See, that's where we became powerful. When you want to change your life, take out the crowd and go to work. If you want to change your life, take out the followers and go to work. You want to change your life, make sure your footsteps every time you step is leaving a legacy that somebody wants to follow. You want to change your life. Discipline requires you to make up your mind and stop making excuses that it's everybody else's mistake why you didn't achieve what you're supposed to achieve. We around here listening to a lot of stuff and everybody got this influence and everybody got that influence. But let me tell you how you change your life. You find discipline in every aspect of your life, mind, body, and spirit. And you can't cheat one without the other because one of them will suffer. And this is why our required discipline forever changed our legacy. This is why we finished the race, one half of it. This is why, as Black men, this is why, as men, that they say can't achieve certain things. This is why Mark said in certain sports that he went and did it in things he wasn't trained in. I wasn't trained in writing a book, and neither was you. But somehow I found myself on New York Times bestseller. Why? Because my discipline. I committed to something. Everybody say, oh man, you was good in football. It seems like I may be good in a lot of other things too.
That's right. And anybody that know you, they know your vision, and it's still going to require discipline. So those out there that's just listening, you following us every week, I'm so thankful for you. Again, just remember that discipline is the root of leadership.
That's it.
It's the root of leadership, discipline. And none of us will be successful in anything that we do if we're not disciplined. You want to increase your value? You want to be great at what you do? Be disciplined. And people love to admire discipline in other people. So whatever it is that you're doing, be disciplined.
And leadership at any level of life is leadership. It doesn't change. That's why discipline is the root of leadership, because true leaders have a vision. And when you follow your vision, watch what happens. Your faith starts to grow. Why? Because listen, and I'm gonna leave you with this. My fear of failure is what activates my faith. My fear of it. And the discipline is the root of leadership, then the fear of failure. It activates my faith. Brother, I love you. And today, I'm fired up to do something for the kingdom. This ain't about religion.
No.
It's about finding a better you. And most importantly, you're on this journey with us. This is about a championship mentality in life.
And just remember, sometimes this road gets lonely.
It's lonely.
Yeah, it's a narrow road. It's not a lot going on this road.
Not many travel this road.
Yeah. And so don't feel discouraged if you feel like you're alone sometime in this ride.
Yeah.
Don't feel sad and upset if you fall short. Just stay on course.
That's it.
You know, I can make mistakes. I can go to the gym and not work out and as hard as I could, but if I stay disciplined and consistent, I just keep going until I get better.
That's
and again,
go ahead.
I know we said it earlier,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna leave this for the people because someone may understand discipline and they know that they need more discipline in their life, and they may need a tip like I had to make for myself. Again, have your vision impose a discipline on you.
Right.
Whatever it is you chasing, it should bring some type of discipline and ride that out for the rest of your life.
That's why a lot of people, that's why you said it, a lot of people, it's hard for a lot of people to swallow this message, because this message is about discipline. A championship mentality is about your faith and your discipline. Brother, I love you. I appreciate you. One life a day.
Yes, sir.
One life a day. All right? We're going to keep doing what we're doing. I appreciate you, Coach. You take care of yourself, boy.
All right.
Look, I have a very unique opportunity in life to where I can reach out to really interesting people and grab these different mythologies of life, mindsets of life. But sometimes you get into some of these intimate moments of life to where you hear someone's story. And to listen to Mark Henry's story, to know that no matter where he was growing up in Texas, 3,000 people, where I was, the challenge is still the same. Make up your mind to change and control your life. But it's impossible if you don't stretch your vision. Your vision has to be stretched. I think the greatest takeaways for me, not only everything that Coach put out there, and I tell you guys, I tell you all the time, I'm not telling you to do nothing I'm not doing. I'm building my journal. We're writing it. We're making the vision. I want to make sure that I'm not missing nothing. I know I'm the one delivering it, but I want to make sure I'm not missing something, that I can, in my spirit, I can be encouraged and go back and read these things. His number one thing, Mark Henry, number one thing, I'm going to leave you with these 3 takeaways. His number one thing, never was a follower. But our world tells us to follow everybody that got something going on. You know, it's all of these things that we continue to keep doing over and over and over. And think about when you follow. I want you to think about something. I'm going to leave you with this. When you follow in the AM, when you follow, this is what you follow. In the AM, you follow the text, you follow the email, you follow the missed call, you follow the reply, you follow the scroll, you follow the chat. You follow all of these things before, Coach, this is before we pray, before we rejoice, before we praise, before we meditate, before we think, before we laugh, before we submit. Take this week and make discipline your best friend. There's some things you let go. There's some things you gotten comfortable with. Lent just passed, so now I'm off of that. Become disciplined in life and make your life a lifestyle of discipline. Because when you get there, you'll realize there ain't too many people that traveled that road. God bless you. Thank you for joining the show this week. It's been an absolute pleasure. Mark Henry was amazing. Coach, always amazing. But the nuggets that I got for today myself, what I'm about to do in this gym, the way I'm about to work out, my mama said something to me last night. She said, baby, you grew up in a church with less than 20 people. And imagine if you keep doing what you're doing and one person hears your word and takes the word the way you took the word when you were 10 years old. It wasn't a mega church. It was a small church. But I heard something and I still carry it to this day. So hopefully someone else can grab that moment and grab a moment and grab one of these nuggets and run with it the rest of your life. Championship mentality. No other way to do it in life. Absolutely no excuses. God bless you. Thank you for joining me.